meeting to order of the Beaufort County Parks and Recreation Advisory Board. Today, Thursday, January 9th. Happy 2025. Let's do the pledge, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, why don't we head this way around the room and introduce ourselves?
Janae Hayes, representative of the Northern Beaufort.
Alan R. Snowd, south of the Broad.
Dr. Carlos Cave, Beaufort County School District Representative.
Dr. Glenn, Parks and Recreation.
Shane Sager, Deputy Director. Evan Christian, Athletic Manager, Love.
Natasha Downs, Fiscal Service.
Josh May, Assistant Athletic Manager, Love.
Jeremy Way, Marketing Coordinator.
Eric Brown, Parks and Recreation Director.
Antoinette Burnett, Aquatics Director.
Dale Butts, Assistant County Administrator. I've got with me Audra Antonacci Ogden, so at the end of March, she will take over my role, and still we're getting her feet wet a little bit with the meetings and stuff. She's also an Assistant County Administrator.
Brandon Whitener, Assistant Athletics Manager, Beaufort.
Alex Hunt, Athletics Manager at Beaufort. Ron Vaughn, Athletic Supervisor, Beaufort.
Berenice Reynolds, Recreation Coordinator. Lindsay Effling, Assistant Manager, Senior Program.
Bob Rozak, Athletic Supervisor, South and Broad.
Darrell Patola, Athletic Supervisor, Bluffton.
Doug Brown, Maintenance Superintendent.
Gavin, Maintenance Technician, both North and South of Broad.
Okay.
Brian Fenley, Commissioner of Low Country Pickleball Leagues.
Audrey Fenlon, Brian's wife.
All right.
Jackie Cobb, Co-Commissioner of the Low Country.
Okay.
Phil Kaiser, South of the Broad.
Bruce Yeager, south of the Broad as well. So welcome, everyone.
And Buffy Campitaro on the phone.
Oh, I'm sorry, Buffy. There's Buffy on the phone. Okay. All right. Can I get someone to make a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right. Item 5 is public comment, and I think the pickleballers, right? You're going to come up during the public comment?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Brian Fenlon again from Low Country Pickleball Leagues. We were privileged and fortunate enough to run a fundraiser charity back in November 16th, 17th at Burton Wells. And first and foremost, I'd like to say thank you to the committee for your generosity in allowing us to run our tournament through Burton Wells. Beautiful complex. We had a successful 2 days, 16th and 17th. I do have a breakdown sheet here. I was also prepared with a PowerPoint presentation, but I'm going to take up your time with that. Essentially, I'll just give you a recap of what we earned for our charity event. It was we hosted or sponsored Bluffton Self. It was Second Helpings. We did a food drive for Second Helpings, and we did a fundraiser for Family Promise. And in those 2 days, we raised approximately 1,000 pounds of food for the Second Helpings group. And we raised and presented a check to Tamika Blake, the director of Family Promise, for $12,687.
Great. Congratulations.
Thank you. And I couldn't have done it by myself, obviously. Jackie helped as my assistant commissioner, did all the stats and data. If you gentlemen need that, we can provide that with you as well. But I do have a cost breakdown sheet that you had requested prior to our tournament, and I told you I'd be back
Great.
to present you with those numbers. So I can read them off to you. Our registration fees, we totaled $12,800. We had a drop box for additional donations at the tournament for 2 days. In that drop box, we gathered another $908. And then we garnered some pickleball equipment that we auctioned off. I should say that we raffled off. And that was another $970. The league expense was $1,900, and I have that broken down on this, the sheet as well, with where those funds went and what they were used for. But the total take directly to Family Promise was, as I said, $12,687. We love the facility. We'd love to return and to offer another fundraiser or charity tournament. We were hoping for this spring, if that's doable. The charity we'd like to fund and sponsor is it'd be Second Helpings. What we found out after the tournament, Jackie and I went and had a meeting with Second Helpings and discovered that they're the primary source of food for all of the charities within the Low Country area. They kind of collect the food with their fleet of trucks, and if Bluffton Self-Help or Family Promise needs food, they'll actually go to Second Helpings and gather that food for them. So with that stated, we're hopefully requesting that we could return again and run a tournament in the spring. What we also committed to Second Helpings is that every year they have a turkey drive. And this year, in speaking with them, they had approximately 147 people with only about 46 turkeys to give out. So our commitment to them is to do a turkey drive through the league prior to Thanksgiving, where we can gather enough food or enough turkey to issue it out to every single family that needs it moving forward. We're a little over 3,000 members strong. We have a very, very charitable organization, meaning our people give. They turned up in droves. We had people that showed up just to drop off food. We had people that show up just to drop off checks in the drop box. And they were league members. We were also fortunate enough to have people that don't play in league come and participate in our tournament. So we were very fortunate. And once again, I wish to thank the Beaufort Parks and Recreation Committee for allowing us and graciously helping us to run this tournament.
And who did you interact with at the Parks and Rec level?
Brandon Whitner.
So that worked out well for everybody?
Yeah, he was my head contact, and Brandon couldn't do enough things as well.
Gotcha. So that everything went smooth and they loved our facility?
Oh, absolutely. The comment we got from most of the people off the 287 corridor is, A, they had no idea that this facility was there, B, how beautiful it was, and C, how close it was. When people speak of north of the Broad, they think they've got to travel an hour to get here. And it's from my home, my door to here is a half hour. So for most people, it's no more than a half-hour drive. And we enjoyed it. We had a great turnout, and more than anything else, we sponsored a very viable and valuable charity.
Right. Yeah, having been on this board for quite some time, pickleball has been a major issue, and some folks that I had met with prior when we decided to do the South Side. We did the pickleball courts there, and Shell Point. They said that at Burton Wells, no one would go there. It's just too far out. So it's nice to hear that it's very well located.
I think you're going to see some action from that as well. We had one gentleman who wanted to form a team for the winter season, I'm sorry. Unfortunately, couldn't put a team together, but there are people within this area that love to play and wish to play through Burton Wells. So there was an assistance with that as well, as kind of opening people's eyes to what a beautiful complex it is and how close it really is.
Yeah, and it's good to build awareness, and if groups such as yourself are using those facilities to raise money for the community, I mean, that's a win-win thing as far as I'm concerned.
I agree.
Does anybody have any questions here for Brian?
Just a comment, I just look forward to working with you next for the spring.
I appreciate that.
Definitely count us in for
Appreciate
that.
it, thank you.
Now, do you have a specific request now, or do you want to bring that to our next meeting, or, I mean,
Well, if I could,
my guess is the main issue that we have with situations like this is coordination with our normal programs. And so that appears like that probably won't be an issue, but I mean, do you need something from us today?
What we're requesting is a second or third weekend in March, and it would be a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We ran into a little bit of a traffic jam on Saturday with respect to running men's and women's doubles on the same day, and we had to limit our registration. If we go Friday and do the women on Friday, women's doubles on Friday, Saturday with the men's doubles, and Sunday with the mixed doubles, A, we spread it out over the 3 days, and B, we stand a chance of raising more funds for second helpings.
Is there any issue with that as far as we're concerned?
Bruce, I would say we probably need to discuss it, because we have gotten lots of requests for
Okay, very good.
the type
Mhm.
of events, so we probably need an overall policy on how to kind of police those and coordinate those.
Sure.
Love that piece of it, but we probably need to have a bigger.
It's understandable.
Okay, okay. But you're looking to do that the second week in March?
Second or third weekend of March.
Okay, and I think our next meeting is March 6th.
It's a little short notice.
Yeah, well, yeah, so, I mean, I'm willing to hear some recommendations. I don't have an issue. I'd like for you to keep your, give us your cost thing, right? So we can review that. Yes, sir, Eric.
I think we should go ahead, if you guys are gonna approve it based on our availability.
Right.
The days that they're looking for.
Yeah,
And the reason we're asking is, we kind of went really quick last time. We kind of rushed it through.
Mhm.
This gives us at least a month or two to coordinate and do a little better organization, not that we weren't organized. Again, just breaking it down to 3 days would help not only our members, but will also help us raise some more funds for second helpings. And that's our
Sure.
primary focus.
right, right.
Then I would say, I'm gonna make a motion that we approve the March, the second and third weekend, based upon the availability
Right.
right now, giving their program the first opportunity to have that weekend for that tournament.
Okay,
Okay.
And if I may, nobody received a fee or funds for this at all. This was all charitable work.
right,
Okay,
yeah,
right.
yeah, fantastic.
There was nobody
Yeah.
paid for this. It was just minimal expense that we endured, and certain things we purchased, we won't have to purchase again, so there'll be less cost from the league standpoint.
In terms of the amount of proceeds that went to the
Correct.
charities themselves?
Correct.
Okay. Okay, so I've got a motion. Does anyone want to,
I'm good with it.
okay.
Second.
Any discussion?
No.
All I would say is that let's have that, as long as that's coordinated with the proper
Right.
person and it doesn't impact any of our other programs, and would ask that you would come back again and let us know how great that one turns out.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right.
And if I may-
I want to comment, just appreciate you coming back and telling us.
Yes.
Well,
Most
I made a
people don't
commitment.
really come back.
Yeah,
and you
I
don't
made a
really know what
commitment,
happens.
and we were very privileged and honored that you assisted us in the way you did and allowed us to use your courts, and it obviously went to a good cause, and we try to run 2 a year, and we don't want to tax you by requesting 2 a year. We're looking for other facilities out on Hilton Head Island as well, or
Okay.
off of the 278 corridor.
Okay.
But it was a very good turnout, and I think we can do better with a 3-day event as opposed to a two-day event.
Well, and I think, like I said earlier, not to be too repetitive, but we've got some great resources and some great facilities north of the Broad. And anytime that we can expose more people in the county to that and understand what we're doing with their tax dollars,
Right.
and then people such as yourselves coming and raising money for worthy charitable causes in the community, I mean, that's a win-win thing. So.
And lastly, we did get some press. The Sun Times of Bluffton put a little article in their paper, and my wife and I attended the gala, the charity gala, the week before, and I spoke to the newscasters from Savannah Press, the Savannah News Station, excuse me, and they also spoke about it on the news.
Okay,
So we did get a little bit of a press there, so.
fantastic. So we've got an open motion. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Very good. Thank you so much.
If I may?
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
All right. We have somebody else here for public comment.
Hello,
Hello.
Miriam Becker.
Hey, Mary Ann.
I'm a tennis player, captain of the North of the Broad tennis girls here, and we like to use the tennis center on Boundary. I would like to, I put in a request for a waiver on the fees. We currently have 5 teams that will be in the spring season. Most of them are over in Bluffton. We are the only team in Beaufort for the spring team. And we will have to play 2 matches with each team, so that means we'll have 8 matches total. But we will only play 4 in the Beaufort County area, and then we'll play the other 4 with each of the other teams on the other side, on the south of the Broad. Kudos to us, too. We've been to states 5 years, so says a lot for our team. And we have played at the Beaufort Center on Boundary. When trying to, I did some research on reserving the courts, and it was a little pricey for our girls, so that's why I wanted to see if there might be able to waive those. It'll be four Sundays. That's when we'll be playing. I don't have the schedule yet. Season doesn't start until the 27th, but it runs all the way through to May. So I'd like to see if we might be able to cut some of the costs for us reserving those 4 courts, because we have to have 4 courts in order for our team to play.
Right, right. So you were part of the group, we're talking the same group who
Mibbs, Goggins, and
right, and that we approved a waiver.
in the fall.
Well, yeah, so this was a meeting in July. And at that point in time, in the meeting minutes, Bruce Yeager stated that we do not waive fees for a situation such as this. We have reasonable fees. We need to have user fees as a county, and approving this would set a precedence for others to come in and just have their fees waived.
Well, I'm
And
not
so-
asking for all the fees to be waived.
Right, right.
Just,
So my read on what we said last time was that, and I happen to personally know a lot of people who play USTA tennis, and they play in Bluffton and Hilton Head and whatever. And I did a random sampling of them, and all those teams, it appears, they pay fees when they go to other people. They pay guest fees. They pay fees to play at their home. I think we made an exception last time for that and cut those fees. But in my mind, that was sending a signal that that was a one-time deal. But I'll open it up for discussion here from the board. Do you have any thoughts on that, anybody?
I have some questions.
Huh?
I have a few questions for her.
Sure, go ahead.
Will you be charging admittance fees?
Oh, no.
No,
That's just, we need 4 courts so we can play our match at one time. It's hard in Beaufort to find anything available. I've already contacted the high schools and some of the private schools who have those many tennis courts. And currently, they're not allowing public to
And it
play
is
on
a-
their courts.
And there is a fee to join this team, right? To join the travel team.
Well, there's a $18 fee that we pay to allow for us to get a shirt.
And you pay USTA fees?
Yes.
Yeah,
I
$20
gotta
or
sign.
whatever.
I gotta sign up every year.
Gotcha, so.
So just for an example, say if my son were to play travel baseball, he would have to pay a fee to play on that team, pay to play on that team, pay to travel. So there are fees that goes into
Right.
that, and then of course
Totally
it's spread
understand
among-
that.
So that's all calculated into that when he goes to travel. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay, so all of his fees for that year is calculated into that fee. Am I correct?
Yeah, I don't
think she's
I don't
That's
think,
not what
yeah.
she's saying.
So,
Yeah.
no.
No,
Basically,
not-
she's got a tennis team and they're sanctioned by USTA and they join them and they just need a facility to be able to play at.
Correct.
And,
Okay.
you know, the question is, in our role, we set fees and we set waivers of fees. And in my mind, I view this very similarly to a travel baseball team.
Correct.
And if a travel baseball team comes to us and wants to rent a field, they don't get any waivers of fees.
That's where I
So,
was going.
Is
so
it usually a one-time deal though, or is it multiple? Because right now it's $50 a court.
it's $50 a court for up to 3 hours of
Right.
time.
Yeah, and that's what we usually reserve.
Yeah,
So it'll be
and-
$200 for each time
Right.
that we go to play, and we need it 4 times, so that's $800 for our season.
Right?
We only have 10 players,
So that's $80.
correct.
Yeah.
That's a little steep for some of the girls that are on my team. So that's why I was just coming at this time to see. I'm hoping we get more players, but cutoff is the 12th, which is Sunday. So I'm hoping we might get a couple more players to reduce the costs for them. But I was just asking for some kind of maybe flat fee up front so that I can tell the girls, hey, this is what we're gonna have to pay.
Right.
So to play here. Last year, we didn't, and I really felt it hurt our chances, because last year was the only year that we didn't make states,
Yeah.
because we have an advantage to bring them to the home court, which is here.
Sure. But you've got to understand as well that we as a county, I mean, the county taxpayers pay for all these resources. We've got a situation for the person who just came up here before you. We did waive the fees in that instances, but they were raising money for charities. So
I read that.
to me personally, it's a totally different situation. And unfortunately, I think from everybody that I've spoken to, our rental fees are very reasonable. We haven't raised them in a number of years. You've got a brand-new facility in Beaufort. So unless someone wants to make a motion to the contrary, I'm not in favor of waiving any fees in this situation. Yes, that we approved a one-time.
I think when we were doing it last time,
Yeah, it was only 3 courts at that time. That is correct. So-
we had given the one-time waiver. I remember talking about this, and we said that to help get awareness in the community and stuff, we would do the one time. I think the problem is, this is very similar to like all travel organizations. And so if we grant another waiver, we're gonna have
Yeah.
everybody, like all the travel baseball teams and all the travel sports coming and asking for the same thing. Because they want to use the facilities too, because they don't have facilities. And so I think it'd be tough for us to do again.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So I'm sorry, but I'd have to say we've declined your request.
That's fine. I appreciate your time.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mondavi,
Hello.
how are you?
Good. Chairman, Board, thank you very much for seeing me. My name is Rob Mondavi. I'm the coach for Holy Trinity Classical Christian School. It's a 501c3 organization. Last year, you were very generous and extended us a discount of 25% off of fees so that we could run approximately 6 days of playing out at the courts for the children. They had a ball. Parents and families came out not only from Beaufort, but also all the way over from Charleston and Hilton Head in the area. So it was great to see the courts out there. Special thanks to Heather, who was a great mentor in how to properly make reservations and read the bylaws and everything, and to understand how to properly go ahead and work with the community on this. So thank you for that. The request is to continue what we did last year and to go ahead and have the same setup as last year, please.
How did that go last year? Good? You don't have any issues at all? Okay. So you're looking officially for a 25% waiver, meaning that you're going to pay 75% of our fees.
Yes, sir. And that
Yeah.
means we'd bring approximately, if our schedule fills out the way I'm hoping, $1,350 to the county through fees.
Okay. All right. I had a little different calculation myself, but I came up with.
I'm a winemaker, so my math isn't as good as it should
Okay.
be.
Well, I think. All right. I want to. I'm not going to have to kick off my shoes, hopefully, to talk about this, but I think I want for the record there to be known that we do have a provision in our fee structure to provide schools, private and charter schools, with access to fields subject to availability. The way that I looked at it, the baseball field is versus the baseball field fees for a travel team versus a school were roughly 50% of what the normal fees were. So
you're saying there's a bigger discount available?
well, no.
I like this negotiation,
no.
sir.
You like this, right? Yeah. Well, what I would say to you based on what you came up with, I came up that our fees would be, and I'm using a 3-hour.
Yes, sir.
3 hours, that our fees would be $2,750, and that a 50% reduction would get you to $1,325. So I believe we ended up at the same place.
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct?
I believe that is within the striking distance.
Okay, all right.
'Cause
So,
I may have done the math a little differently, sir.
Yeah.
If I look at 6 different times of play, so 6 different days, utilizing 6 courts, that would be 36 courts for the year, times $50 per rental session, which should bring us to $1,800. With a discount of 25%, that should knock that down approximately $450 to, gosh, I have to do the calculator here, to $1,350 is where I came out to.
All right, I had.
So maybe I didn't.
Regardless, but I had.
Maybe you were drinking my wine that
Yeah.
day.
Do you have 5 courts or 6 courts?
I had a typo in there. It should be 6 courts
Oh,
is the
okay,
ideal.
so 6
Yep.
courts. All right.
So if we look at 36 courts times 50, that should be 1,800.
Okay. And you're using them for three hours, is that correct?
Typically less than 3 hours.
Okay.
So how it works is there's 6 single games that start, and those usually finish within about an hour and a half. And then we're down to 3 courts pretty quickly after that for doubles. And then we had one case last year where we had some folks that showed up who wanted to use courts, and it took about 15 minutes for us to have one of our singles games tap out. And even though we had them reserved, we asked the people who were waiting to take the courts because we wanted to make sure that we were good stewards. I think you and I shared and talked about that.
Okay. Yeah, I'm apt to along the basis of what we do with baseball fields. My suggestion is we do 50% like we do on the other, and come up with that number.
It'd be 900.
Yeah, whatever his number comes up to, divided by.
It'd be $900.
Yeah.
Okay. No. Yeah.
Between the two of us,
$1,800, and if we're doing 50%.
Right, but he's got you've got a couple different dates that you might want to add on to it, basically.
Yeah, it's possible. And so if it would be acceptable, if there were additional dates, I could work that out and discuss that with Heather. And then I trust her math over both of ours right now.
Yeah, okay. All right, but you do realize I was doing my math off the form that you filled out, so. That's all right.
That paperwork gets me every time.
Yeah, I got my math in Michigan, so you know it's good. All right. In any event, I think we're, based on last year's performance and based on availability, which I think you pretty much put out here for those particular times. As long as those are good, we're good with everything else that the county wants. I think 50% based on our calculation, I think we're gonna end up at pretty much the same place.
Sounds good.
Okay?
Thank you,
Do
sir.
it, someone wanna make a motion?
Well, one question, any problem from staff on theirs performance last year?
No, we we had an oddity with a person who came on the courts trying to talk to some of the girls, but we were able to address that pretty quickly. Larry in his tennis program, he's actually not there at that particular time because he's got something else I think he does during those times, so we don't conflict with Larry. Donna has been helpful. She's blown down the courts a couple times. The only time we had a dialogue that was challenging is when we had a missed email on dates, and then fortunately we were able to demonstrate the paper trail and the approvals, and we got that sorted out. So I thought it went swimmingly.
Okay, well, my question was to the staff. Was there any problems? None? Okay.
All right.
I propose we continue the relationship as we did last year, but do it under the guidelines of the 50% discount because of the charter school.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very
sir.
much.
Have a good week
You
and
too.
weekend.
You too. All right.
Christmas came later.
All right, department reports.
Good move, Chairman.
Oh, we did not,
Hanukkah came early for him.
yeah, I missed number 6, didn't I? All right, I went straight to public comment. Okay. Has everyone had a moment to review the minutes, and do we have any changes to those?
Other than the change for the qualifications for, well,
For Buffy?
Yeah.
You good with that, Buffy? She there?
I'm good.
Okay. Anybody have any other comments? Okay, do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor?
aye.
All right, thank you. All right, now we can get back on the, properly on the agenda. Department reports.
Good afternoon. I'm going to kick off a few sections this time. We're kind of into the new year. So a lot of the sections this time are going to start with a recap of the last several. So this first slide, which will come up here. So we're here showing just the year-over-year review of all of our main rec centers. So the Lynn Brown, the Burton Wells, and the Buckwalter Recreation Center. Really, and you'll see a lot of slides that are similar to this, showing the progression of check-ins throughout the years. So not a lot of discussion needed necessarily on them, but kind of give you a visual representation of where we've been and where we're headed.
What's the reason for the decrease in Lynn Brown so much? Was that because we were closed, or?
No, so in 2023, we actually calculated entry, all of the Alvin Settles check-ins actually happened through Lynn Brown. So it's artificially inflated for 2023.
Nice.
We figured that out.
I like that.
Yeah, so this is a good metric of kind of all of our, we'll call them normal check-ins. If you actually calculate things like basketball league use where they're not checking in, this is tens, if not 50s of thousands higher, because we've got 1,000 people every night at Buckwalter and roughly
Right.
So,
But these are individual check-ins
Check-ins,
with
correct.
no particular allocation to a program or anything?
correct. Yep.
Mhm. Good,
All right.
impressive.
So the first several in athletics are also metrics, kind of just fun to see type things. This first one, though, shows our progression through the years. We did switch metric systems in 2021 from Max Galaxy to RecDesk. So in some of our metrics, we do go back to 2021, but probably most reliably to start looking at 2022 and forward. But you see a fairly logical increase or consistent increase in programs from left to right of and really in all of our systems. If I'm looking at this, the only one that jumps out to me is the decrease in camps in 2023 or from 2022. However, in 2022, we did camps on a weekly basis, so you actually had to register 8 times to go through the entire summer. In subsequent years, we did either by the whole summer or by 2-week sessions. So we actually did increase in 2024 based on total registrants, just fewer registrations.
So you're saying in 2022, you divide that number by 4 because they had to register 4 times?
Actually 8.
Oh, 8
times.
times.
Yes, 8
Okay.
times, yes.
All right. And this is north and south combined?
That's correct. And then that's a great question. We'll move to the next slide, please. So this is a separation by north and south per your question there. Similar numbers, you see kind of more consistent growth across the board on the north side, but still positive progression pretty much all over the place on the north side, with a small decrease in the baseball in 2024. But overall, positive trends. And then, again, more data. I worked for General Dynamics for 10 years, so we did a lot of data stuff. So this slide that you're looking at now is a comparison by season. So there are some previous discussions about how fall looks relative to fall and how spring looks relative to spring. So each of these kind of shows the different seasons as they progress through the years across the different sports.
Well, this is pretty impressive.
The teams do a great job. And then this last slide, I think in the metrics piece, is the adult piece. So a little, on the north side, we have more of a baseball program that's grown, kind of grown through the years. We don't have that on the south side, but fairly similar metrics. We had some newer volleyball programs on the north side, and then kind of a newer spring soccer we're offering on the north side. So great job to Brock on that, and also a new winter basketball league, so only one season of metrics on that. And then the decrease in adult softball on the south side, we did have some challenges with our senior leagues deciding to migrate to Hilton Head, so it kind of speaks to that metrics of the drop.
Yeah, so they actually left, right?
Correct.
Formed their own deal?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
All right, and then I think it's on to the normal presentation.
Nice, like that. Thank you.
So I think the last time we met, we were just getting ready for Soccer All-Stars. Bluffton had a good showing. We won the 10U boys state champions, 8U, 10U, 12U girls state champions, and we were the 15U runner-up. So all our soccer teams did really well. Good showing for Bluffton. We're running basketball right now. As you can see, we're down 14 kids. We got 932 in our program right now, 119 teams from 4-year-olds up to 6-year-olds. We started January 4th, so we've been playing just about a week. Everything's going smooth. Not really any complaints and enjoying it so far. We got our adult kickball that starts on Monday. As you can see, we're down 62. We've kind of had some issues. We were at 10 teams at once, then we jumped down to 7 teams. So we've had people backing out, getting refunds. Teams having a hard time finding enough girls. So we've had to make some adjustments there. But that's kicking off on Monday.
Is that a team registration thing?
No, sir, it's individual.
Okay.
So it's an individual fee, and then they kind of just tell us what team they're playing for, and we assign them to the team.
Gotcha. Because one of the other programs you have, we talked about, I think at the last meeting, was a team-based thing that we were...
Well, our adult softball is, but I
Okay.
think that was Buford that was talking about.
We were talking about maybe
Yeah.
doing some different things, right?
Yep.
Okay.
So that's what we had. Our upcoming leagues, we got our registration open, everything open January 1st. You can see all our sports that we're getting ready for. Obviously, the numbers are down, but we're only a week into registration, so we should be. Everything's kind of, we're a little bit behind on a couple of the sports as to where we were at this point last year. but obviously those numbers are going to grow a great amount. And then again, our adult volleyball, we're getting ready to kick off. That registration's open. We only have one person sign up so far, but again, we're 8 days into it, so not worried about that.
Right, right.
So that's the Bluffton.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Good, how are you?
Doing great. So you can see we're down in kickball this year as well. Last year was our first year in the winter that we offered it, so still trying to, I guess, kind of find our footing there and figure out exactly, you know, who is going to retain teams, who's going to come back, and that kind of stuff. So that probably explains why that went down a little bit there.
How many people do we need to have a viable kickball league? I mean, how many?
At least 3 teams. So I
Three
mean,
teams?
Yeah, it's
So
typically what we do. So I think we have four teams with that number, right? Four teams. Again, it's going to be hit or miss in the winter because it's like cold one week and then it's in the 70s the next week and then it's in the 30s the next week. So.
And as far as facility utilization for this, they play one night a week?
Typically that's what we do.
One night a week, and so it's
one night a week, and it's all 4 teams are typically out there each night. I think only 3 of the teams play each week, and all 4 teams will play, and then they rotate. Whoever's not playing is going to end up umpiring and refereeing for the other teams.
But I guess what I'm saying is we're allocating one field for this program one night a week.
Correct.
So okay, good.
Correct. Yeah. So that'll be starting soon. We just wrapped up a winter basketball adult league for the first time. There were 4 teams in that. We ran that down at Lynn Brown, Charles Lynn Brown Center, to try and utilize that facility a little bit more, get it some exposure. Renovations are going to be starting on that, I think, in March was the last I heard. So fingers crossed on that. Obviously, we don't want to commit to a date or anything because we never know. But hopefully that starts soon. But that was a really big success. That was Brock kicked that one off, so it was well done on Brock. And then for youth basketball, just a little bit down, but a lot of that is because we usually have a 11 to 13-year-old girls team. They're all now getting to the age where they're either playing for middle school or high school, so they are doing that instead of playing with us. So that's, we usually got 8 to 10 girls there, and then, just other regular non-enrollees.
Okay.
So everything coming up, this is obviously what we currently have. So registration in dates there. Flipping through this real quick, sorry. So I did some metrics based off of this point of the year last year in registrations. So those numbers you see under 2025 is our total enrollees right now, and 2024 is total enrollees that we had last year. But at this time last year, this was 2 days ago that I did these numbers. So soccer was down and baseball was down a little bit, but softball and flag football were up. And then adult soccer as well, but that's the first year that we're offering that program. So I like to kind of keep track of that, of where we are in relation to this time of the year last year.
Right.
Just for my own knowledge more than anything, I guess. But it is interesting to see that we were down in those 2 and up. I wouldn't be too worried about baseball. Baseball is going to go up. I wouldn't be surprised if we passed 330 this year. I would actually probably expect that because I think we're getting a little bit more retention from some of these travel teams in the area.
Carlos, where do we sit on relative school-age children in the northern area of the county and the southern area of the county? I mean, are there any shifts there? Is it pretty much?
Well, the most growth is in south of the county, in the Bluffton area. And then as far as this age group, the middle school age, obviously we have a middle school league as well. And we offer in the spring baseball, softball, boys and girls, soccer, and track and field. So that usually those kids will leave the school program, and then if they're able to, or they're doing both,
Right.
So
Yeah. So we have the older boys age group of baseball, the 13 to 15-year-olds that runs later into the summer. So usually we don't start that season until maybe the last week of school season, so they can double dip that way. So that baseball metric is, for us at least, it's only 4 through 12-year-olds.
Right, okay. Yeah, I mean, I think the big issue with us with looking at all these counts is understanding, where we are with the age groups, how many participants there are. I mean, when you fly over at 30,000 feet, you think all this growth, all whatever, everything should just be going through the roof. It may or may not, depending where it's located, what area of the county.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is just understanding, are we reaching everyone that we need to reach with the offerings that we have? I mean, that's really the big question. And then secondarily, are people satisfied with what we're doing? And so I think from my perspective, and I don't know how the other board members feel, when I'm not getting calls from people that are complaining, that's usually a good thing. So, and I haven't really had any of those recently, so, so understanding numbers, you look at a number and you say, oh, what? Well, maybe not for all those issues we're talking about. So.
Right. And then big thing to note there too is lacrosse. We're trying to start that program this year. We officially opened the program for registration. That number is actually wrong. We have 3.
You have 3?
Some great recruiting.
Yeah. Well, working on it. Anyway.
Thank you.
So we're doing late summer. I got an email about this program, MLB Pitch Hit and Run. It's kind of similar to what the NFL does with their program for the youth. It's really cool. It's free for us to run. It's free to register. And basically, anybody is able to sign up. It's from 7-year-olds to 14-year-olds. It's split up in 7, 8, 9, 10, split up by age group. They run through, they'll throw, they'll hit, and they'll run. And you got a program where you add up their total points. And then at the end of it, the winner of each age group advances to a regional tournament in August. And then the winner of that will advance to the finals and game 2 of the World Series. So it's a really cool event. Hopefully it draws a lot of people. It's not limited to just Bluffton, just Beaufort. People from Savannah can come or wherever, anywhere can join this. So it's a really cool event. Like I said, we're going to try to do it late summer, kind of around All-Star time. But we'll be doing that. And then we got approached by a gentleman, one of our lacrosse coaches. He's going to run a free clinic for us in Bluffton to try to get some interest in our lacrosse program. We play in that league out of Savannah, so we're hoping to, and last year we had 5 teams in 4 different age groups. We're kind of hoping we'll get 7 or 8 teams to run our program. So that registration's open. Again, it's a free registration. It's a 2-hour clinic that this gentleman's going to run for us. He's providing everything. We don't need to provide equipment or anything for him, so he's doing it on his own. I think right now we have 10 people signed up for the clinic, and that registration will run. I think we got it set till the 24th at like 5 o'clock, just to give them a heads up of how many people are coming. But that's what we'll be doing on the 26th.
Carlos, we have lacrosse at all of the, do we have any middle school lacrosse, or is it just at all the high schools?
We have no middle school lacrosse, and we only have one lacrosse program north of the Broad, which is Beaufort High. Because I was going to ask the opportunity for that clinic piece, can something like that be done north of the Broad? Because the sport really needs to grow on this end so that Battery Creek and Well Branch, right now, the only option those athletes have is to try to become a part of Beaufort High's program. There's some layers to that taking place, because there has to be an approval within region play and within that classification for that school, the 2 schools to combine. It's called a combination of schools. And but that process, we literally had a kid military transfer in because of where they resided. He was zoned for a school that didn't have lacrosse, and he's a really exceptional lacrosse player. He was initially denied, but I encouraged the AD to go back through and resubmit, and he finally got approval, so he'll be able to play at Beaufort High. But
He'll go to school where he's going, but
he's
he'll
gonna
play
go to
at
school,
Beaufort.
but he'll play at Beaufort High.
Right.
With the combination of schools finally being approved by the 4A classification. So, but we really need to try to see if we can, obviously the interest has to be there, but north and broad so that they can grow on this side of the river.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is there any chance that the gentleman who's running that, if we spoke to him, might have some interest in doing that?
A little bit.
Okay.
Because I was going to talk about that some. So we did offer some clinics. We offered one over the summer, and then we offered one over the fall this past season. Two different kind of structured clinics, but that was also more geared towards 4 to 16 or 6 to 16-year-olds. More than happy to coordinate with people from Battery Creek, Whale Branch, whatever, to get a more high school age clinic. I think that would be great too.
I think
if that's what you're
even though
after.
I'm including, I will include all of the schools on this side to include Bridges Prep.
Yeah, sure.
So I'm pretty sure they have kids there. So what in essence happened, because Bridges Prep is a charter based on the South Carolina High School League rules, those kids could also become participants. So really you have to include the 3 public and that charter need to be all lumped into that.
Right.
As well as Beaufort Academy, because again, with the change to the legislation, Beaufort Academy, if they had kids there that had interest in lacrosse, they could go to play at the school in which they reside, where their brick and mortar home is.
Gotcha.
Right now, everyone on this side will be trying to play at Beaufort High.
Beaufort High, right, because that's the only one
program.
offered.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense. No, I have no problem reaching out to, if I could get contact info from all the
Yeah,
ADs or whatever to promote
that's
it
no
within the
problem.
school. I don't think we would have any problem hosting that at Burton Wells.
I think that, and we've talked about this, I've talked about this before, that, there's been a new contract, right, Carlos, that's been signed. So the interaction between the school district and Parks and Rec, that's very important and critical. And however we can disseminate that information at that level, because there's obviously an interest in anytime we can leverage that, that's a good thing. So we can be viewed as a, obviously a feeder system to expanding sports at the high school level as well. So, good.
For sure. So that's kind of direction that we want to head in lacrosse. Seems like y'all do too. So yeah, that would be great to kind of work together and try and grow through that together. I think that would be great.
Yeah, let's not forget the schools. Every kid, there's commonality. Every kid who's in our program is going to a school somewhere.
Right.
Exactly. So that's that's a good thing.
Yep. So other than that, we had adult basketball that, like I said, just wrapped up. Brock did a great job with that. Brock's also been doing a lot with the youth lacrosse clinics and registration and stuff like that. So he's a very good resource for that as well. And then adult soccer, we just opened that registration. That's going to start in about a month. I would anticipate that one's probably, I think we capped it at 80 participants. I would expect that we're probably going to get to 80 on that, just because soccer is going to be in high demand.
Question on the adult basketball.
Sure.
Is this a team, can a church, let's say, are you going to open up a church league? Is these certain leagues where a church can bring in their own team to play?
Yeah, we don't have anything church specific. For a while, we had a church league softball, but we have changed that to now just adult co-ed softball.
Okay.
Just because we felt like we needed to move in a direction of, inclusive of other than just churches. But a church could absolutely, our registration fee is similar. It's an individual registration fee where during the registration, you have a slot to put what team you want to sign up for. So if a church wanted to put a team together, just like any other group of people wanted to put a team together, they would just put what team they're registering for, and we put them all together on the same team.
Understood. And then as far as reaching out, I know that since we know that middle school is already playing, but the elementary schools, there are no sports. So is there a way that we could reach out, or what are we doing to reach out to the elementary schools? those students? It was
mean-
6, 7, 8-year-olds. They're not playing anywhere, and so my thing is we can get our hooks into those, we can get those 6, 7, 8, 9-year-olds to play. They are more likely to stay with the program. You know, you get those in, they'll stay in 6, 7, 8 years.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just a matter of getting the information to the elementary age group. I mean, there's definitely interest. I mean, those kids are definitely desired to be a part. So just a matter of getting the information to the elementary level.
Can we do that through, I don't know, I'm the old-fashioned, leaflets through,
I mean, if the information is given to me, I'll give it to the district-wide communication. They will vet it and push it out
Okay.
to the elementary principal. So, I mean, that's all that needs to happen.
Would that be through I guess that would be through Mr. Brown?
Well, I'm old school where we would do a flyer and
Yes,
put it out
flyer.
to the schools, but when you say elementary sports, what are we pertaining to?
Oh, I would say.
I mean, that age
yes,
group really falls, that's what you're getting right now.
I mean,
Yeah,
because
so-
okay.
our season is open now for those age groups, and we
Yes.
have open registration going on now for that age group. But if we wanted to tackle and get into the schools, we'll get a flyer done. Jeremy, we can get a flyer done, get it to Mr. Cave, and he can vet it up the chain of where it needs to go as far as the schools are concerned.
Yes, so then it would be right now to all the spring sports, because I have a 4-year-old, and, you know, since you have some sports that I think you just said that 4-year-olds can play in, I mean, those kids, I know those parents would love to get their kids into something.
Okay.
Yes.
Do we from a marketing standpoint, I mean, in terms of our metrics on that, in terms of, you know, I presume anybody who comes in via registration, whatever, online, right?
Yeah.
They're then on a list that they get sent stuff every time. I mean, so are all of our metrics on our website, we're getting good hits and everything on that?
And we had a marketing meeting today, deputy director and the marketing guru back there. So we are basically getting ready. Well, let me finish up. When I come up, I'll talk about it.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right.
Because I don't want to steal anybody's thunder.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Hello.
Hello.
Talk about the senior program. We put together some data from 2023 to 2024. Those numbers are a total of how many participants we have served in the community. Group dining, obviously you can see 15,842. That number has grown tremendously because we have now 8 centers open. 7 of them have food in them, 1 currently doesn't. That's Lynn Brown that we're still trying to build. It's not been super successful as we hoped, but we're still trying. The HDMs are home delivery to homebound people. The number, it looks like it dropped, but unfortunately that is just people with age and homebound that pass away, but the numbers, they just keep coming in every day, so we just keep cycling. But yeah, that's fine. I picked Port Royal to highlight for the month. They did a lot of community outreach by making pillows for nursing homes, doing all types of things. They had a gingerbread contest within the center, and that was something they really enjoyed doing. They take lots of field trips. They sponsored a family for Christmas, so they got together and purchased gifts for families. That is their January calendar that I just wanted to show off, that they are constantly on the move and doing a lot of different things in the community. Other than that, we have a waiting list of like 100 plus for our Bluffton location. Our Port Royal is on a waiting list. They probably have about 50 on the waiting list. St. Helena, they are all everyone's on a waiting list almost except for Dale and Lynn Brown.
So we have a maximum number of people we can service at a particular facility?
Yes, just due to transportation and space availability.
You must be doing something right.
Yes, we could probably open like 2 more facilities in Bluffton if we had somewhere to put them, but right now it's busting at the seams.
Any questions?
Great job.
No.
Good job.
Thank you.
Yes, good job.
Hello.
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 Okay, so you guys had asked about numbers and everything like that. So we went back to 2022. Those numbers are a little off just because we switched from Max Galaxy to RecDesk and everything. But this is pretty much the gist of everything. The biggest reason that you see it going up and down is because, for example, Bluffton Pool was closed for one time frame, and then now they're closed again. So that's why you see a big change up and down.
Sure.
But 2023, that's pretty much your ideal setting because all 3 pools were open, or all 4 pools were open during that time, during that year.
And probably some of those check-ins are fins, right? And-
Correct.
And there was a different allocation between them to other pools because when Bluffton was closed, right?
Correct. So Battery Creek is the one pool that gets more people when Bluffton closes. So most of the patrons go to Battery Creek Pool. Right now, currently, most of the patrons there are from Bluffton side.
When did Bluffton close this year?
For this time, it was June.
And are you commenting, who's gonna, Eric's gonna comment on that? Okay, good. All right.
Okay, so this here is for Battery Creek and Beaufort for the numbers. You guys wanted to see exactly how much Fins was actually using the facility. So I broke it down. This was very hard to do with RecDesk because I had to literally sit there and look at each individual check-in. But I was able to come up with November and December. For Fins, for November, it was 470 check-ins. And then for December was 434 check-ins. So that's the biggest difference there, compared to just the public and then to Fins itself. So.
Well, this really does give us a good feel about the activities that are going on there. I think that's great.
Now, some of them are low, like for example, just regular swim lessons are low because people don't like going outside in the cold.
Right.
But, so obviously during the summertime, the swim lessons will really increase during that time frame.
Are those private swim lessons or,
Those are
you
private
got
and
school
group.
lessons, right?
Yep,
Okay.
so those are private and group swim lessons, and then you
Gotcha.
have the school swim lessons as well.
A lot of aerobics in Beaufort, huh?
Yes, everybody likes that aerobics.
And what's ISR?
ISR is the infant swim lessons. So they had to go to Battery Creek one day because our water was extremely cold that day, but they're normally at our Beaufort pool.
And Bluffton has a big 0, right?
Yeah, Bluffton, there's nothing for Bluffton right now.
Okay.
So here are our normal things. So ideally, this is how I would do the check-in for you guys moving forward, because like I said, it was really a lot of work just to get that information there. But our hours are still the same. Our school swim lessons still the same as well. Most of our Bluffton swim lessons are coming over to Battery Creek Pool right now. And then we have our deep water aerobics and then the fins. And then this is so for the public for November was 876, and then for Fins, obviously 470. And then December 617, and then for Fins 434.
They're basically using 50% of the pool.
Correct.
capacity-wise.
And I mean, most of the public knows when they show up, they know, okay, well, we're coming during this time. We're still open to the public when fins are there, but most of the public wants to come before them.
Is it a hindrance? I mean, are the Finns and everybody else playing well and everything's good?
Yeah, everyone's polite and everything. It's
Okay.
just, some people are a little bit intimidated when they see these swim team kids just laugh back and forth, back and forth.
Right.
So-
Well, that's always been an issue for us. I think we give them a really good deal in terms of,
Correct.
in terms of what we're providing them at the cost. And I think at least in my mind, the question is whether or not that's being detrimental to our other folks that are with us. And I think I hear you saying not really.
No.
Okay.
So, for Beaufort Pool, same thing, the hours are still the same. Our school swim lessons still the same as well. We did offer scuba during 1 month, but now, right now, no one's coming for scuba. And then we also offer water aerobics. Miss Belinda, that water aerobics class is really popular. Roughly about 15 to 20-ish people in each class. So that's a pretty popular class. She's actually wanting to add another day if possible. So hopefully that
Is that
will
a
become-
70-30 program?
Yes. And then for the check-ins, Finn's doesn't go there, so this is just the total check-in for this facility. 661 for November and 727 for December. Obviously, Alvin Settles Pool is closed, Bluffton Pool is closed as well. And then we offer all of our different classes, so the group swim lessons and the private swim lessons, they're all year round. I think that doing all the group swim lessons online, advertisement-wise, is actually helped me out a lot because parents can literally just sign their kids up for those group swim lessons online. Private lessons, they're a little bit complicated to where it hasn't been done online yet, but they're still being offered, so it's a huge turnout for private lessons as well. We offer the stroke improvement, that's normally for adults. We haven't really seen that many, but most adults, if they're wanting any type of lesson from us, they're wanting swim lessons, so they're involved with that group and private swim lesson aspect. And then we offer CPR. The next lifeguarding class that we have is coming up. Hopefully we get people signed up. People have emailed, but no one has signed up yet. So.
Any other questions for Antoinette? Thank you.
Cool.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
All right, let's talk about recreation. All right, so programs. We're still working on some programs. Right now, I'm currently working on spring break camp. I'm also working with the Boys and Girls Club. Eric and I did have a meeting with them on last month, and so we're waiting on them to take that back to their board and see what we can put together at Lynn Brown.
So that's Beaufort Boys and Girls Club then?
Yes.
Yeah,
mhm,
okay.
Yes. Pickleball. So we're working on pickleball classes, offering indoor pickleball classes at Lynn Brown. We're trying to reach out to find an instructor for that class, but if not, we're going to do it within house. We're going to have someone to conduct those classes, as well as dance and arts class, like martial art classes. We're still offering Zumba, line dance, bachata. Those things are still going on, and that's both on this side and on South of the Broad. Mentor groups are going really well outside of the all-boys mentor group. We have mentors. We have a ton of mentors, but it's hard trying to get the kids in, get mentees. So we're actually trying to spread the word there. Events, we have partnered with the Beaufort City Police. We had a school break movie event that was done on January 2nd, and it was pretty good. The chief of police, she was very excited about that. She's actually spoke with me on having more. So we have more that's scheduled for the spring break and also during the summer. So we've been doing some partnering with outside organizations as well, like the Select Health of South Carolina. So we have a Repack the Backpack event coming up February 8th.
So that's an event where they're gonna have vendors come out, set up tables, and, you know, we have a lot of back-to-school drives. This one is gonna be where we're gonna repack the backpacks. You know, usually around this time, kids have broke all their crayons, pencils don't have erasers, so we're gonna, you know, give them those things, to finish out the school year. And, tomorrow, we're actually gonna host a, vision board party at Lynn Brown.
What's that?
So it's where the kids are gonna sit down and talk about their dreams and their goals. And we have a speaker that's gonna come in, Dr. Christopher Thompson. He's over the Thumbs Up program. He's gonna come and speak with the kids, kind of inspire them a little bit. Questions?
Now, all of this activity is centered in Beaufort, is that correct?
Yes, as of right now.
Gotcha.
So we're gonna start over here. We're gonna eventually work our way south to Broad.
What about, like classes and things like, obviously, some of these are future. I just remember us having a discussion about jungle body dancing last time. Didn't really know what that was, but are you getting some good participation in that?
Oh, no, that's Buckwater.
Yeah.
Oh,
We
okay.
have a little bit of work to do, getting the community to look at, like, the community looks at us for athletics, without a doubt. Getting people to look at us for classes is kind of the next big hurdle that we have to cross. But we get great participation in the classes that have already existed. It's kind of starting those new ones to get them going.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, certainly. But, yeah, recreation means a lot of different things, right? Yeah, okay, good.
All right, good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
So, real brief, as I was saying before, we had a meeting prior to this meeting about telling our story. And I think we need to do a better job of telling our story on what programs that we're doing now. Athletically, we offer and we tell a great story with our athletic programs. So now we're gonna make sure that we're telling our story on our new recreation programs that's coming online, our tutorial programs, dance programs, whatever the case may be. Every week we want to highlight some type of story that took place in recreation. So we definitely will be telling a better story when it comes to all of our programs in the Department of Parks and Recreation. Want to talk about the pool over in Bluffton. The contractor had some issues with materials on back order, so we did not meet the deadline. But one of the beauty for us, one of the things that I will call great for us, for every day that they don't meet the deadline, they're being fined. And they're paying a hefty fine for not giving us that pool back on the day that they promised us that. So I know that's not.
What was the day that they promised?
It's coming up, February 1st. I know everybody don't want to hear that, but once it goes out to the contractors, it's out of our hands. We deal with balls and bats and not hammers and nails. And so, or maybe Shane may deal with hammers and nails, so I shouldn't say that. We all
Nails and pools don't sound like
they
together
don't
well,
mix together.
Yeah.
So we're working on that. And another highlight, the Wesley Felix and the Agnes Major complexes will be getting new facilities. We actually brought that to council and it was approved. We have a contractor in place, and so they're doing their due diligence as far as permitting and all of that. We don't have a date on when shovels will hit the ground, but we know that those projects are moving forward, and we're excited about that. And then we have multiple projects, multiple CIP projects that we have in your back order that you guys can take a look at that will be taking place also. I mean, the Lynn Brown will be getting a new gym floor, new wood floor, new bleachers, restroom renovations. Our Bluffton Center will be getting a new makeover inside and out with new fields, new baseball fields, volleyball pit. And so we're excited about those projects as well as all of the other projects that you guys will be able to see in your back order and your backup.
Did they make the decision at Bluffton Center to put turf back there, or is it gonna be grass?
It's artificial turf.
Yeah.
Artificial turf.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're waiting for them to come back with costs. Because of,
Right now, it's out for bid. The scope is out for bid, so we're waiting on that to come back. But it went out to bid, the scope went out for bid for artificial turf. And also, we are 60% in with 4 new artificial turf fields at Buckwalter. And so, that project, I heard that was like years in the making, but it's back out there now. And we're just waiting on some environmental stuff to come back from the state of South Carolina. And once that happens, that 60% can turn into 90% ready. And then we'll be ready to get those 4 new soccer fields, which is much needed.
With the turf fields, what type of field are you gonna use? So are you using rubber? Are you using some type of alternative field to go into the turf surface? Reason why I'm asking is when Beaufort County, the district, when we install our fields at all 6 high schools, the 2 initial schools were Beaufort High and Well Branch, they both have the rubber infield.
Too high.
And, well, we have a chemical, we have some things to counter the heat. But the point I wanted to make with it was that there was a incident involving a student that had a allergic reaction to the latex to the rubber. Thus, the 4 additional fields now have an alternative fill. It's sand mixture that they use with padding underneath the turf. So I don't know if you guys have dug that deep into it, but you probably need to take into consideration that piece, because that's something, an adjustment that we had to make when doing the installs here at the high schools.
And I know the adjustment we made was, I know in the state of Florida, we couldn't use the rubber because it was so hot. So
Yeah.
what I did remind the contractors of is that rubber during the summer, you couldn't use the fields, until evening time because of the rubber was getting hot. So we have not tackled that, but we'll look into that.
Yeah.
How long do you anticipate the pool's gonna be down? Do you have any idea?
I don't.
Well, whoever negotiated a contract with a penalty phase in it, that good.
Yeah, and I don't, and I do not like giving a time frame, because when we gave one, we were kind of beat up because of the fact it didn't open when we gave a time frame. And in construction, you give estimates, but you never give a time frame, because when you do, you're gonna be held to that time. And so I don't know.
My boss asked on my way out to find out when the pool's gonna be open.
Yeah.
Like, he ain't gonna be happy with me tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's all good. It's all good.
And everything else is excelling, so I mean, hey.
But
we're trying to get
the
it.
pool in terms of, I think what I hear you saying, there aren't any big surprises, it's just a supply chain
Right.
issue with materials.
And that was, we were emailed, Dale and I received an email about the supply chain as far as getting the material back to us. I talked with Mark Sutton, which is one of the CIP managers, and he sent an email out to the contractors, let them know, making them aware of the time frame and all that. So that's where we are with that. And
I mean, at the end of the day, the people that are complaining about the pool, for the most part, are probably the swim team folks who
Yeah.
are traveling over. And, everyone has to understand that we have no vested interest in having it take longer.
yeah. And whenever there's construction and making beautifications to whatever, it's going to be some inconvenience for everybody.
Right.
And what I feel great about is that we still have an alternative. It's not like there's no pool
Right.
of operation, so we still have an alternative that they can use. And so, yeah, our hearts feel for them, and we're gonna try and do our best to get those pools open.
Right.
With word of mouth, because we can't put hammer and nail to nothing. Thank you, guys.
All right. Any other questions for Eric?
I do have one.
You do? Sorry, Eric.
Get back here.
No, everything is great. Looks great. The one field we have downtown, the complex Basil Green, is there anything on in the plans about doing any upgrades or anything like that on the,
No, we have not.
okay.
And I can take a look at that, but
Yes, sir.
I know that we turned in CIP projects
Yes,
last
sir.
week, and that wasn't a part of it.
Okay.
Is that getting updated in the, will that be in the budget now?
No, it's not, it has not been, but we can take a look at that. And I haven't taken a look at it. I need to research that more, but I haven't.
Thank you, sir.
But I will.
But basically, there's a plan, and
Yeah, it
once
is.
that gets read into the budget, then
Right.
that CIP is gonna be available on, that'll
Yeah.
show you what's
Yeah.
anticipated to be funded and over what period of time, so.
Eric, what's the status of the master plan?
It's moving forward. So master plan is just a living will. So based on funding, based on funding and priority, projects are moving forward. So the master plan is always put in place to show communities, elected officials, staff, where we are and where we can be and where we should be. And so some of the master plan projects that I mentioned today, Wesley Felix, Agnes Major, so those projects are part of the master plan and those projects are moving forward.
So for example, the tennis facility in Bluffton is still in the master plan, but it's not in.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, so.
Right.
In that living document, so to speak, that that's what we're using until we have our next revision to that. correct?
Right, and with a master plan, staff will make provisions based on need, based on surveys, based on 10 years from now, that master plan is still live, but the demographics may change. or
Right,
something may
yeah.
change, so, yeah.
I don't know that we've ever seen the final version.
It's online.
It's published online.
It's published.
Yeah. So I would like to know, final question is, how are you doing and how are you, you've been here how long now? 10?
10 months, 9,
Yeah.
10, 9 months, something like that, yeah.
So how are you feeling about it?
I'm good. I feel good. I feel like as long as you guys want to keep me around, I want to be around. So.
Well, we have nothing to do with firing you, so, or hiring you, except for Phil, but we appreciate you think we have that
Keep me
power.
around.
Okay.
Thank
All right.
you, sir.
Thank you.
And
All right.
I'm
Very-
counting on you guys this weekend too. so.
Thank you, Mr.
All right. Does anybody have anything else for the good of the cause here? All right.
Having kids and having children who participate in the program, I just think that what these guys are doing, I just wanted to just say, fantastic job.
Yeah.
Having 3 children, having 6 children overall in the program my son's gonna be playing lacrosse. He wants to play lacrosse this year, so I'm looking forward to him coming to those clinics. My daughter, again, will be back in softball, and I have 2 boys who will be playing baseball. And my 4-year-old, I don't know what he wants to do, but he's gonna get out there and burn that energy.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to him coming into the rec sports. So great job, Mr. Brown. Great job to everyone out there who's doing your thing. So
Yeah,
fantastic.
again,
I just want to say
to echo with what he's saying, we appreciate
Yes.
y'all, everything you
Yes.
do, and again, I kind of view success in various metrics. I want to thank you for the metrics that you provided. I think that gives us a different viewpoint or an enhanced viewpoint on the information that we had before, and I think in general, at least what I'm hearing is that. The majority of folks are satisfied with what you all are doing in terms of recreation. So I do appreciate that, as I believe everyone else does. So with that, our next meeting will be March 6th in Bluffton. And if nobody has anything else, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah. Thank you all.
Next meeting. Come on, Carlos, let's go.
Yeah.